Right. I would, again, too little time, this idea of devolved government. Whose cities are going to look better than others and why? Or is there sort of uniformity that's going to be brought about by academics such as yourself so that we can foresee Eldoret looking in such and such a fashion, Wajir looking different, Mombasa looking, and integrated? Because from my researches, there are two words to come out of here. One is planning, and one is organic planning. Things just happen. So are we into the organic model? Things are just going to happen and we wait for it to happen?
I think devolution is a good thing which has come, particularly for our urban areas, because in the past, people, when they thought of an urban area or place, they thought of Nairobi. So people came from all places of Kenya to the city. This was the only place where there were brilliant lights, there were, massive, mass transport, airports and so forth. But now we have devolved. It means we are going to have very good urban areas emerging in the other parts of this country. We are expecting, for example...
So in other words, these urban areas are going to have an infrastructure which is laid down before they're constructed. It's going to be a city like, let us say, I've never been there, Abuja in Nigeria, where it was built according to plan.
I think the framework has already been laid, because as counties are coming, they are already guided by law, which says they have to prepare integrated development plans. And they have to prepare an integrated urban development plans. So the good thing about this is we are not going to have chaotic, haphazard urban areas anymore. I expect, for example, the counties of, Kisumu, the counties of Mombasa, counties of everywhere. Each one of them, I'm expecting that the governor would want to have a small town, a good city, because they have also to attract investors. Investors will not go to a place which is not attractive, which is not good for investment. I think it has to be realized, to attract investors, you need to have good urban places.
Yes, but again, Professor, this idea, you were talking earlier on about social inequalities,
yes,
and the idea of making more of society included in a better quality of life living. The gated communities, the Konza cities, the Tatus, all these wonderful, high security, self-sufficient areas, aren't they to the exclusion of the Mwananchi? But that is what represents development.
We can get it wrong if we see these new towns as simply exclusive places. That would be a big mistake. And the idea about these new towns is to create opportunities for investment. And it is important as we plan for these new towns, whether it is Konza, Tatu City, and I have talked to, for example, the municipalities of Ruiru. I've talked to the planners of Konza City. We need to integrate. We need to be inclusive as we plan this. The city itself depends on how it is planned, how it is managed, how it is governed. So I think we have an opportunity both to attract investments, because that is an opportunity to create investments, but also to create humane, people-centered places for development.
Professor, when I look at magazines about other countries in South Asia, places like New York, people are saying the quality of the environment is also of the essence, so that people are sort of building gardens on the top of their skyscrapers. They're rehabilitating old railway stations and making them green cities. Nairobi, for one, was once the green city in the sun and is becoming more and more the brown city in the sun, with you planners sitting by the side watching.
Currently, in fact, as we speak, there is an ongoing major effort to prepare for an integrated development plan for Nairobi City, which is being done with the support of JICA. And I am part of that process. I'm one of the members of the task force. In that city planning, we have realized the importance of green spaces. We have realized the importance of housing, importance of more efficient transportation systems, importance of even expanding the CBD, because in terms of CBD, for Nairobi. You can see, for example,
CBD being the Central Business District.
Yeah, Central Business District.
Exactly.
We have had for a long time people, everybody just concentrating on the Kenya's Nairobi Central Business District until, because of transport grid and other problems, people started moving out to places like Westlands and so forth. The idea is to decongest the city so that even our Central Business District is a place you can go and walk. You don't have to have these huge traffic jams there. As we expand the possibilities of the Central Business District to probably, for example, let's say like Upper Hill, places like, for example, the part of the railway section of there, we will be able to have a better CBD where people can actually come and enjoy themselves. We can put more green spaces there. So there's a whole remaking of the city of Nairobi.
Professor, you described your profession as being something of an art. Now the art, the quality, the aesthetics of living leads me to the whole idea of security. Yes. On this TV station we have read stories about young girls being systematically raped wherever it is that they live because it's easy for young people to waylay them. Mm-hmm. Does the urban planner have a role to play in creating light, making it difficult? Is this part of, I'm just asking, what are you responsible for? Because I think I could sit there and imagine a green space. I could sit there and imagine people walking up and down. But what am I doing to make sure that it happens? What are the structures that I'm putting into place to guarantee this improved quality of life?
Okay. The crime or, instance of crime is related to the built environment.
Yes, indeed.
We know if you, for example, make places very invisible, or if you try to create highly crowded places, you increase chances of crime. A good place is some of our informal areas, some of our low-income areas like Dandora. And Dandora, when it was planned in the 70s, it was meant to have a lot of open spaces, a lot of visibility. But with the time, we created huge structures which blocked view. Which is
a roundabout way of saying that whatever instruments are put in place, they're open to abuse, they're open to corrupt practice.
Exactly.
So again, as we go forward, what do you as an urban planner know about what will stop me from building a nightclub in the middle of a park, to use an image?
That is where the other side of planning is important. And as Kenyans, we need to believe in planning. We need to respect planning guidelines.
But can I, as a citizen, play a role in alerting the state and alerting somebody to bad practice? Say, look, folks, across the street there, somebody's building a nightclub in the middle of the park. What can we do as citizens? Because I always say empower the citizens.
Exactly. That is part of our, citizen responsibility. And you have seen some of the
So I would go to you. To whom would I go with my complaint?
You would go to the director of city planning and say, look, I know this area of ours is a neighborhood where we are supposed to have children, where we have, our homes, and somebody is putting up a building here which is incompatible with the life of our neighborhood. And that is actually something our right Kenyans need to exercise more. And at the same time, we need also to educate people what is a good neighborhood. Because a lot of times, it is also the residents of the same neighborhood who wants to build those structures. Okay? And I think as neighbors... So
self-discipline, taking on responsibility oneself is part of the solution.
Yes, and minimizing corruption. Because many of the structures which are built against the planned standards are as a result of corruption. So once we minimize corruption in the way we develop our cities, once we as Kenyans become more responsible and say this is the neighborhood we want, I think we'll come up with better cities.
Right. Again, as a planner, are you part of the process of saying, now that this has been planned, this is the cost of living within this environment? So we look at a place like Mathare, all these places. What is it? We go back to the have-nots in our society. Mm-hmm. What is going to guarantee from the planner's perspective that their lives improve?
I say
because it can't happen instantly, because these are sprawling. They're going, who's going to be the first to have the garden, the piped water? What's the rollout process?
If you lived in this city in the 60s and 70s, there were housing of different income groups. And government at that time emphasized on building housing for all the income groups. There were housing for high income, middle income, and low income. What we need to maintain, to know and to kind of emphasize is when we are promoting housing, we emphasize promotion of housing for all the income groups without excluding one group. A lot of times, for example, in our informal settlement, government now is doing quite a lot. There is a lot of program on informal settlement upgrading, like it's called KENSAP, Kenya Informal Settlements Upgrading Program. And the challenge which has often come is in the design of those houses. We often design houses which are not affordable to the same people we are trying to build. And we also, due to corruption, allow the same houses to be taken by income groups which are not really the ones we are targeting. So there has to be one at the design level to make sure that we make the houses affordable. And at the administration and management... And
I would dare suggest that you have restrict them. You show proof of being able to be an occupant.
Exactly, because a lot of times there are people who get these houses and immediately sell them or lease them out. So they are not really target needy people.
Right.
So we need better targeting of the people we are aiming at.
Professor, in a minute, what is the future of the urban space in Nairobi, in Kenya?
I see if we are going to follow the laid down laws which have now encouraged more planning of our towns, of our cities, I see us having well-planned, livable cities as we approach Vision 2030. To be a middle-income country like Asian countries, if you go there, you find they have livable cities.
Professor Peter Ngau, urban planner, thank you very much for coming on the JSO interview.
Thank you very much, John, for having me.